Previous episodes, we went through choosing the location and fabrication of the components. After test fitting everything, the components were pulled and the engine bay and brackets were painted. Now here are shots of the components in their final places. Here's a shot from the rear of the Tesla motor. You could see the rear bracket and frame support beams now painted with final hardware. Here's a shot of the side motor mount. You could see the coolant hose, relocated brake line mounting, and new suspension. This is a view of the inverter side of the motor with the main harness and two high voltage lines. These are the two batteries behind the rear seat before the trunk panel is in place. You could also see the stock vacuum reservoir for the auto door locks on top of the batteries. These are the coolant hoses and low voltage wiring harnesses that travel from the front to the back of the car in the stock drive shaft tunnel. The high voltage cables that connect the rear and front battery packs and the cables that connect the contactors to the motor are inside the gray electrical conduit. This is the charger, which is mounted to the underside of the battery box under the hood. It sits right above the stock front crossmember that housed the original motor mounts for the diesel motor. Also mounted to the underside of the front battery box is the control box. Here is a view of the batteries fully mounted, wired, and plumbed. We mounted the 12-volt battery in the stock location, but had to modify the tray to accommodate the high-voltage battery box. The positive terminal came from the Chevy Volt donor car, and the fuse distribution box off the terminal came from a junk Sprinter van. This is the dual coolant reservoir. The red Dexcool on the left is for the batteries and charger. The blue coolant is for the Tesla motor. Here are the two radiators and the cooling fans. The power steering pump and electric vacuum pump sit in front of the driver's side wheel well. Since the car is now reliant only on battery power, we decided to change every lamp in the car to LED in order to minimize the electric usage by accessories and maximize range. The new LEDs also provide a few more candles than the old lamps. Here are shots of the axles installed between the drive unit output and the wheel hubs. Even with the control arm at full droop and the shock detached, we couldn't get them into the wheel hub, so we unmounted one control arm mounting bolt to drop the arm the extra inch that we needed. Now that all the components were mounted and ready to go, we decided to give the $200 junkyard monoblocks a little refresh and put on the battery cover. That's it for episode number 5. Next time, we finally get to drive this thing.